Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0-Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Ooh, welcome back to the 3-0-Take presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 387. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin, and I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Kyle, I'm buying today.
What are you buying?
Big surprise. Buying on Thursdays. I think there's a trend there. I'm buying Baker Mayfield. I don't know. Some of you are like, hold up. Wrong sport. I don't know if you saw those comments. Baker plays for the Bucks. Had a pretty decent day against the Vikings. And somebody was like, dude, are you cheating? Did you get the signs over there with the Vikings? Baker goes, nah, bro, I'm a Rangers fan, not an Astros fan.
I'm so sick.
Juice me up. Juice me up.
Well, first of all,
I know you're sick of it, but I like it. Some of us aren't over it.
No. I'll clarify. But first, before I do that, I got to state that, once again, I am recording in the back of our car here on Beach Week. Didn't want to go through the hassle of asking the whole family to be quiet while we recorded. So, yet again, I'm here. Anyway. Hopefully it doesn't get as hot in here. Hopefully we can ride this one out. With that said, though, I am sick of this generation of sports fans. And I hate to say it, but from what I've seen, it tends to be the younger ones who, like, can't comprehend that, like, legal sign stealing used to actually be a thing. Honestly still was up until probably like the mid 2010s. And then once the whole Astros thing went down, any sort of commentary regarding
like any ounce of stealing.
Yeah, any sort of sign stealing, it's like, well, they must be using some illegal method to acquire these signs. It's like, no. Common sense can tell you that, like, legal sign stealing can exist, and more times than not, the reality of it is the team that's having their sign stolen, they're not taking care of their sign, like, projecting, whatever it may be, sign relaying, whatever you want to call it. It's not always illegal. So let's chill, like, and I guess by me saying this, I'm coming to the defense of Baker Mayfield, but it's like, can we just stop accusing people every time they maybe use their athletic abilities or intuition to maybe pick up on something? Can we stop accusing them of cheating? Please, I'm done with it. I'm sick of it. Anyway, buying or selling for me? What am I buying or selling today, Nate?
I think you should buy. I had another buy. Did you see Adam Wainwright's last games at Busch? He's doing a concert.
You're gonna have a concert.
He's playing.
I saw that.
Like, let's go.
Whose idea is that? Do you think that's him coming to the team being like, yo, can I do this? Or are they like, hey, we really want you to do this as a going away
I have a feeling
present?
that's Waino. Yeah. I think it's a little weird. It's a little weird, but, like, whatever. I mean, the season's shot. His season is absolutely shot. Should have been shot a while ago.
Tough.
So, like, go out on a bang, I guess. Play some guitar. Sing a little bit. It's going to be like his songs, too. Just weird, man. The whole thing's kind of strange, but I like it. Like, why not? Give these Cards fans something to root for. But interesting. Just real interesting. I like Waino, though. I think he's going to stick around and do stuff, like, for MLB. Not necessarily for MLB, but I think he's going to do something for baseball.
Doesn't he already have a contract with Fox? Or what? He came on to Fox as like a part-time guy
but
at some point, didn't he?
I remember he did this interview like a year or two ago, and I think he is a part of a team that's, like, working to do, like, a Hard Knocks thing for baseball. I think he is like wanting to do something for it. So I'd love to see him lead the charge, but he's great in the booth too. Like he's really good in the booth. So
a true professional.
Yeah, I love that guy. So if it was anyone else playing guitar on their own last homestand, I probably wouldn't be on board. But I'm buying Wayno, so you can steal that one if you'd like.
I'll steal that one.
All right.
Well, I mean, if on record, I guess I'll just say I'm buying dunks. Literally, starting my day with some Dunkin'. We're no free ads, but you and I were talking about it beforehand. It's like playing Russian roulette with Dunkin' iced coffee.
For sure.
And I'm sure there's people out there that would agree. I get it if you hate Dunkin'. But look, it's either going to be terrible or it's going to be the greatest iced coffee you've ever had. There's really no in between, and I'm willing to put up with all the times it's terrible for that one or two times that it's fantastic. So,
did you tap into your basic white girl and get the pumpkin one?
I sure didn't.
No?
No. Cream
I'm
and
not a
sugar.
big pumpkin guy.
No, I won't cave to that. I'm not about the whole pumpkin fall drink craze. I don't need it. Don't need it. It's not even technically fall yet, though, right? Isn't fall like September 22nd? We don't need to be doing that. They came out with the drinks in August. What are we doing? Anyway, I'm
eager.
Getting sidetracked.
I'm eager. I'm so ready to be wearing sweats. I'm so done with this.
Fall.
Meanwhile, you're at the beach, like you
got
to soak in your last few days of summer.
Yeah, they're all like, "Hey, let's go to Starbucks and get all the new fall drinks." I said, "Yeah, we can wait until after the beach, and then you all can get as many fall drinks as you want. But until then, it's still summer here." Yeah. Anyway, let's talk Phillies Braves. Some I don't even know if you want to call it drama. It's really, look, I've noticed a trend with myself, and I think you would fall in line with this as well. Whenever there tends to be a headline that comes across, I feel like, and correct us if we're wrong, but I feel like you and I can inject some reason into a headline or a conversation or a narrative when people just want to blow something out of the water.
I think that's why people are listening.
I'd like to think so. Like,
yeah.
Just there's so much sensationalism going on. There's so many. I mean, that's how media survives, especially in the sports world. Like, you got to come up with your clickbait. You got to come up with your headlines. I get it, but I'd like to think that we can inject some reason into a conversation surrounding an incident such as this. Phillies and Braves made some waves this week. Braves roll into Philly, take 3 of 4. They clinch the division. We'll get into that in just a minute, but. The news was surrounding some comments made by Phillies manager Rob Thompson, where he said something. I think it was, "I just want my guys to act like they've been there before," and it was in response to Ronald Acuña Jr.'s home run trot / celebration after his, I want to say it was like 37th home run of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was on, what was that, Tuesday night. Look, I know how I feel about the trot. I think you would probably feel the same way. But, like, we're not in a place that sit here and complain about it or anything like that, because it's just the way it's the way baseball is. It's the way sports are now. So, like, what's the point in complaining about it or making a big fuss about it? All I know is that I'm just tired of the back and forth, regardless which side of the aisle you're on with this stuff. Like, I'm tired of the people coming out and saying, like, well, back in my day, like, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate previous eras of baseball because I'd like to think of myself as somewhat of a, like, traditionalist, purist, whatever you will. But I've also come around to
so too.
Many new facets of the game.
Yeah.
But, like, what does Rob Thompson think he's going to accomplish here with this comment? Like, you got to read the room, Rob. Like, this is not the first time this narrative has been brought up. Like, we've more than beat this into the ground. But then on the flip side, like, Ronnie, what are we doing, guy? I mean, if you go back and watch the video, and I know I literally just got done saying, like, we're not in any position to complain about it. I'm not necessarily complaining about it. I'm recapping what happened.
Let me see if I can find it.
Hits the ball. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can find it. Hits the ball, admires it, flips the bat, makes his way, points to the clubhouse, or points to the bullpen. Are you still with me?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't see you. Shout out to the Beach House Wi-Fi. All right, so let's start from scratch here. So he launches the ball left center, close to an upper deck shot. Points to his first base coach, or no, hold on. Admires it, flips the bat. Points to his first base coach. Daps him up. Points to the bullpen. Flaps his arm like a bird.
Yeah, hit him with the fly eagles fly.
The dugout's going crazy. Stops at third, does his 30-second little hoop-de-doop around third base. Does his little cross-up as he's coming home. Does his little icy ice, point to the sky, I'm cold, shiver, shiver. Daps up Michael Harris at home. It's not, by no stretch is it the worst thing I've ever seen, but also I can understand if you're Rob Thompson, dude, just baseball fan, or I feel like people in the baseball world forget that it's not illegal to just run the bases. It's not a requirement. It's not in your contract that you have to showboat around the bases. If you want to do that, so be it. But also it's not illegal to round the bases.
It's just so much. It's a lot. It's just a lot. The bat flip. You got to do something at first base. You got to do something as you're approaching second base. Another thing with your third base coach. Another thing crossing home plate. It's just a lot. I think even Braves fans can acknowledge that it's a lot. You have on 87 wristbands. It's just I understand it, dude. You're really good. I'm not hating on you as a player. I'm just I don't know. On this side of the aisle, I lean more towards the humble, I'm going to hit hundreds of these in my career, so it is what it is. And I don't know, with Rob Thompson's comments, you kind of go back to, remember the days in, B Harp showing up in DC for the first time. And, Jason Worth is no, take that crap off your face. Get all that black, the eye black off. Stop acting like this. It's time to be a big leaguer. And I would assume that Bryce Harper has transitioned into that guy now in his clubhouse. And Rob Thompson, basically fits that style as well. And I'm not saying everyone needs to. I'm not saying you shouldn't have celebrations. I love the team things where each guy has their own thing at second base. But it's now gotten to the point where it's so lopsided that everyone's doing it. You know what I mean? If we're all the same, if we're all doing something and we're all the same, right? So what's going to make you stand out? What's going to be different? And it's now at the point where if you're just trotting and you're just putting the bat down, you're different. And it is a little bit of a flex. Now it's gotten that way. So I'm cool with it. I'm cool with whatever you want to do, but tone it down a bit. Sheesh.
Yeah, and look, and
it's making me
I'm
a Phillies fan, by the way.
I've been a Phillies fan for my entire life. What can I say? But it's back to this Rob Thompson thing, because I don't want to sit here and just sound like we're just railing on Acuña, because Acuña's Acuña. We've acknowledged that. Yeah, he's gonna do what he's gonna do.
He's not the only one that's. Yeah.
No, and baseball as a whole is better when he's playing and he's doing what he's doing, especially the year he's having right now. But with that said, let's flip the script on Rob Thompson. I saw a lot of Braves fans, in their defense, they were coming out saying, "Hold up, Rob, have we forgot about how things went in October with the Rhys Hoskins bat slam. And, I have to take that into consideration when I'm looking at this whole thing, because I'm going, okay, well, Rob, if you look at your own guys, I mean, Kyle Schwarber stands at home plate longer than most after his home runs.
Right.
And then you got the Rhys Hoskins thing. I mean, Bryce Harper from time to time will let you know he got into one, but all in all, keeps it pretty tame. But that it goes back to my point of can we just stop with the narrative altogether? Because there's hypocrisy on both sides. There's hypocrisy all around where it's okay, well, I want my guys to act like they've been there before. It's which is another thing, by the way. I don't think Braves fans understand what the phrase "act like you've been there before," because I saw so many comments being like, "Hey, Rob, Acuña's got a ring on his finger, so he has been there before." And I'm like, that's the point I think that he's trying to make is act like you've done this before.
Right.
It's safe to assume with the core that you have in Atlanta that you're probably this is not going to be the first season that you have where all eyes are on you to win the World Series because of how good you are. So let's dial it back a little bit and behave as though this is going to be a recurring thing. My favorite thing, you want to talk about flexes? My favorite thing, and it happens a lot in college baseball, occasionally at the pro level, but my favorite thing is when you win some sort of play-in game or you win some early round game to advance you to the next round, whatever it may be, the ALDS, NLDS, whatever, that advances you on, and there's not much of a celebration. It's all right, sweet. We did what we had to do, but the job's not done. So we're going to save all that until after the fact.
Right.
You rarely see that anymore. And to me, that's quite the flex because it's honestly, this was kind of light work for us. So there's really not much to celebrate. That, to me, that's more insulting to the other team.
That's just right. It's you're going hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So,
but I'm not gonna come down on the Braves for celebrating. I'm not gonna come down on that because I mean, winning the division, doing it in the opposing your rivals' stadium, that's across all sports. That's something that a lot of people dream about. But yeah, dude, I don't know. It's especially having a ring, like you said, they've crossed that finish line before. This is just still the regular season. I think it's okay to tone it down. And it's strange to act like it's unjustified for Phillies fans to hate you. You know what I mean? During their celebration, he's pointing at the crowd and waving at them after the game, and they're just raining down with boos. Right. And it's you're acting like it's not justified. Obviously they hate each other. That you're gonna go in there and be hated. And I don't know. It's not over. You know what I'm saying? You haven't eliminated the Phillies completely. You might see them again. Who knows? So that's part of me. I will say with the celebration, the one thing I am fully on board with, 110% on board with, is the pizza party in the clubhouse afterwards. To crush beers and champagne and then immediately move into some pizza. I've never seen food anytime in a clubhouse before. Have you?
It does come full circle for a lot of these guys, I'm sure. Coming through elementary school, you get that half slice of pizza on the Friday because that's all the teacher can afford.
Eddie Rosario got 2 full slices, dude. Give me that.
So you come up through elementary school, you're just balling out as a little 10, 11-year-old having half slices of pizza, and then you make it to the show, and then you're still having pizza. I'm all about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's dope.
It's like Michael Scott said, it's the great equalizer.
Yeah.
Rich people like pizza, poor people like pizza.
It's true. One thing that, not to rain on that at all, but one thing that hit me hard was that the pizza thing in elementary school. The one, when I heard that it's the teacher buying it, I'm oh, my heart. You're right. Like, I'm sorry, bro. I'm coming down on you for not having enough to share, but like,
No.
It's the teacher like pulling it out of their own purse. You know what I mean?
I'm not ragging on teachers at all. Mad respect to the teachers who would go out of pocket, out of their own way.
Like, that was sick. Yeah.
To grab a pizza and a couple 2 liters of Coke. I'm all about that, and I will forever be
the little slivers
for those teachers.
Yeah.
Wrapping up the conversation here on the Braves, though. You know, it's tough for me to look at what the Braves are doing, and then in the same vein, look at how Braves fans are responding. I don't know if I've ever seen a team outside of maybe the Astros, but that's a whole different conversation based on what went down. But I don't think I've ever seen a fan base create more of a us versus the world.
Like, I know.
Just unjustly so, where it's
I don't get it.
Nate, I got a little note here for you. This is their 6th division title in a row. They have the most division titles of any MLB team since division play started back in 1969.
Ooh.
Since 1991, they have ended the regular season at the top of their division 21 times. At 96 and 50, they clinched the division this year in 146 games, the second quickest clinch in the divisional era. Why, Braves fans, have you created this narrative where it's you against the world? Like, people don't hate you because you're good. I think people just hate you because you guys act like
you're the underdogs. Like, you shouldn't be here.
You sign your stars for, you want to talk about pizza, you sign your stars for a box of pizza, and then you guys go out and win the division every year. Like, why? Why is this narrative being created? I don't understand.
I don't know.
I've never seen a fan base more defensive. I just don't get it.
It's true. They're overly defensive. Well, here's what's nice, though. And are you done? Like, did you go through all the notes?
That's what I got.
Perfect. Then we don't have to talk about them for 2 weeks. We don't have to say another thing about the Braves for a while. Because they're in. We're done talking about them. That division's over. Give us a nice little break away from them.
I'm sure people are tired of hearing about the Braves. So
except Matty O. We're probably going to be talking about Matty O. Because, goodness.
I don't know. Acuña's on like 80, 40, 100 watch.
40, 60 or 40, 70? 40, 80. He's already over 60.
I thought it was 40, 70. You might be right. 40, 80. Either way.
That's absurd.
And enough about the Braves. I'm done talking about the Braves. Let's talk about JROD. 30-30. The 4th player in MLB history to have a 30-homer, 30 stolen base season at age 22 or younger, joining Acuña Jr., Mike Trout, and Alex Rodriguez.
That's big time, dude.
I want to ask you, because this is actually something I meant to ask you a couple weeks back when he was really starting to heat up. Do you think JROD has the capability? And this may sound like a stupid question to some, but like I feel like there's more than one factor at play here. Do you think JROD has the capability of truly becoming one of the faces of baseball? Because credit to MLB, they are trying their darndest to make him the face of Major League Baseball. But do you think that he's going to be able to consistently put up the numbers that are required to fill a role like that, given that he plays in Seattle?
I think we're so obsessed with home runs nowadays, so I'm going to say no.
Because you have to remember, like, he wasn't off to the fastest start to the year, and he wasn't being talked about all that much. Wasn't being covered as much because obviously you got guys like Acuña going off. You got Tatis making his comeback. Like, other guys were filling those conversation spots. And JROD, I feel like, was kind of off to the side. So unless he's putting up a 30-30, 40-40 year every year, I don't know if he's going to be able to consistently hold that role.
I agree. I would agree. And I think it is the fact that he's not as polarizing as some of those other guys. You know what I mean? Like he's like Acuña's loud. He's in your face. He's going to get to the point where people are either going to love him or hate him if he's not already getting there.
Which that's been a thing forever. Like the media eats that kind of stuff up. Whether you're polarizing one way or the other, if you're polarizing, you're going to get the clicks, you're going to get the views. And that's what the media eats up. And that goes back to what I said weeks ago, where it's like gone are the days when you can just be good at your craft, whether it's baseball, whether you're an artist, whether you're a songwriter, whatever it is. I feel like gone are the days where you can just be good at your craft and actually get the recognition that you deserve, because you have to be saying controversial things. You have to be creating controversial things. You have to be reacting or responding in a way that draws so much attention, whether it be negative or positive. Yeah, toxic at this point. It's just, it's really sad, but I mean that's where we are, and it's unfortunate for a guy like JROD who just goes out and does what he does. And
and don't get me wrong, like he's a stud, and he's gonna be a stud, and he's gonna be a stud for a while, and like he's gonna remain fun to watch. And I hope that he can find a way to bring a ring to Seattle. But it's not, I think they're so thirsty for like a, Griffey Jr. 2.0. And I don't think that he's quite like that. He's a little bit, it sounds like he's a little more reserved. He's a little bit quieter. He's still exciting, don't get me wrong. And at the same time, based on what Acuña is doing in the stolen bases, what we're seeing with home runs this year and last year, like 30-30 is becoming less and less impressive. As awesome as it is, as young as he is to do this, and like I don't want to take away from the fact that he's crossed this. Like this is dope. And it's something I don't know if you saw the video of his dad reacting when he was watching it, like so sick. I love it. And I'm a JROD fan for sure. But Face of Baseball is a totally different title. Totally different title. And it is this like, you gotta be this monument, statue-worthy Ohtani, Judge. Like, you've got to be doing freakish things that we've never seen before. And I'm not sure JROD is quite at that point of doing things we've never seen before.
Yeah, and to reiterate, not taking anything away from him
at all.
But the reality is, based on the sample size we have thus far, and he's young. I'm not like writing him off by any stretch. I'm simply saying, if you extrapolate the likely trajectory of his career based on his skill set, based on what he's shown us so far, it's very likely that he will be overshadowed in the category of home runs.
Probably.
The category of stolen bases. He's not going to have the edge in the power. He's not going to have the edge in speed.
Yeah.
There's really not many statistical categories or facets of the game where he's going to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, to your point, he's going to have to do something.
It's got to be like Jeter. Like he has to get 3 or 4 or 5 rings in Seattle for him to, you know what I'm saying? Like, right. And he's just super likable, and you know what I mean? Like that's the route he would have to go, because again, like Jeter didn't have all of those tools where he was leading the league in a certain category every year either. So I agree.
And in a case like Jeter, his legend, his stature grew as he developed in his career. It was never this overnight thing with Jeter where it's like, okay, like this is the face of baseball. The reality of it is, early in his career, I mean, he got, correct me if I'm wrong, did he not get sent down, or am I thinking of Mariano?
He got sent down. He came up for like the back end of a year.
Right.
95, got sent back down, and then took off 96.
Right. So like it was never
Struggled
a thing
96 though.
Yeah, he didn't take over, and I think the same thing is going to happen with JROD, where you've got a guy who has
like a normal trajectory. It's just normal.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like he doesn't have to take over the league by storm, but it's unfortunate that he's going to be, especially if he stays in the AL with this contract that he's got for however many years, he's going to be up against the likes of a Judge, of an Ohtani, depending upon where he ends up. Who knows? And that's just within his own league, much less forget about all of Major League Baseball.
Well,
so
when you talk about like tools and stuff, like when you think of like, just run down your tools of what's you're most excited about when you're watching baseball. Like home runs, he's not gonna be a perennial top 5 or top 3 guy. When you think about like super crazy arm strength, like we're so obsessed with the velo coming out of these outfielders nowadays, he's not really top 3 there either. Talk about like these insane base running skills that we've seen with like a Tatis or it's just certain guys like that making crazy swim moves or like tagging up on an infield pop-up or stuff like that. He's not really that guy either. He is excellent across the board, and he checks all the boxes. He does all the stuff right. But I think it's going to be the humble, quiet, I'm just really good route that's going to make him last forever, be a legend. It's not going to be the other stuff, which it is what it is, and that's fine. I would rather appreciate a Julio Rodriguez for as long as we possibly can and just see what kind of numbers he's going to have after 10 years. And I hope it's just a consistent, really, really good. And then all of a sudden he's just crossing milestones when he's 33, 34, 35. And you're like, whoa, this guy's just been doing it for a long time, which he absolutely has the tools to do.
Switching gears here, talking about a guy that quite possibly, most likely, will not be doing it for a long time. Alek Manoah. What happened, dude? Guy, reports come out, says that he declined to report to AAA, refused, I saw in a number of headlines, refused to report to AAA because he was unhappy with his demotion. And it sounds like now I think reports are coming out saying that he's done for the year at all levels, not just AAA, not a return to the big leagues at any point during the regular season, the postseason. Sounds like he's being shut down for the year. What happened?
What do you mean what happened? He grew up in this society. He grew up where, everyone gets a trophy and, it's just if you're not good enough to make your club team, you go start a new club team. This is what he grew up in. And it's like, this is the product now. You know what I mean? You got guys that act like that, just act like spoiled brats. There's no other way to explain it. He's spoiled. And it's so crazy that like a week ago, I was just talking about David Wells doing that interview, and he was talking about like, it doesn't matter how much a guy makes. It doesn't matter how long they've been around. If they're not performing, they need to be sent down. They need to go figure stuff out. And it sends a message. You're doing all this while your team is really like putting everything in on this wild card race. Like, what are you doing? All you need is 1 or 2 solid starts at AAA. You're back up. Your boys are making a run. And you could wash away all year. You could wash away all your ridiculousness this year with one good postseason start in the Rogers Center, holding it down, dude. Like, that's all it would take, and everyone would forget about this year. But no, you had to throw a fit.
And for those doubting that point that you just made, perfect example. J.D. Drew in the 2007 postseason struggled all year. Hit the grand slam. That's all he's remembered for that year. They go on to win the World Series.
Yeah.
If you're Alek Manoah, all you would need is to, like you just said, ramp it back up, get yourself into a spot position yourself to make a start or two that helps your team accomplish the goal that they set out for in spring training, that they set out for every year to win the World Series. But no, you wanted to go throw a little hissy fit. And this came, a year or two, maybe not even 2 years, maybe, less than a year, where he made his comments about, like, what did he say about the pressure and the car tires and all that? And I'm like,
I don't even know.
Dude, this is how you're going to respond to this quote-unquote pressure. Like, you get put into a situation where you have to prove yourself or to, like, actually commit yourself to something, and you cower away at the first sign of difficulty. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
What a little hissy fit.
It's ridiculous, dude. And, like, if I were the Blue Jays, I'd be done. I'd be okay walking away.
Yeah,
don't pull that, dude. It's so clear that the Blue Jays are lacking
discretion,
possibly leadership. To be honest with you, possibly leadership. You know, like, you have all the tangibles. This roster is put together to do some things. Some of us argued it would be the best offense in the league before the year. Why is this not clicking? At a certain point, it's got to be like, they're lacking a voice. They're lacking a strong veteran that's just like, shut up and do your job. Stop talking and just do your job. Tough. It's hard to see. Hate to see it.
I love to see
Manoah,
it.
But
I'm so out on Manoah, dude. The guy's
coming at everybody last year, though. Coming at everybody last year. Ready to fight the world last year. Ready to take on anybody. When goings are good. Like, all right, bro.
And for me, it's guys like this that justify the commentary that surrounds guys that run their mouth, where people are like, dude, just like you were saying, just shut up and do your job. But then you get the people that are like, bro, stop being a boomer, like, stop being an old head, just let him play the game. It's like, no, there are a percentage of players in the league that can run their mouths and actually back it up. But it's safe to say the majority of guys that do that end up like an Alek Manoah, where it's like, you run your mouth, you make yourself look like an absolute clown.
Mm-hmm.
And then you end up at, like I said, the first sign of a challenge or adversity, nowhere to be found.
Bro, if you got the skill set, do it. Do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, if you're showing up, putting up numbers, do whatever you want. Michael Jordan was the biggest trash talker in all of sports.
Yeah, and what did he say? What was that quote that came out during the Last Dance documentary where he was like, if you the sign of a good man is when you run your mouth when you're down. It's easy to run your mouth when you're up.
True.
And Alek Manoah is down, and he's nowhere to be found.
Yep.
So that's all you need to know about Alek Manoah.
Yep.
Moving on. Let's talk about some injuries, some seasons that are coming to a close. We got Max Scherzer, Darvish, O'Neal Cruz, to name a few. Max Scherzer just came out yesterday that he will miss the rest of the regular season with a strain that they, I think, initially believed was what they called a tricep strain. I don't know if you saw a video, but he was very clearly in some discomfort after pitching relatively well in that start. But he will be out for the remainder of the regular season and most likely the postseason, I believe.
If they get there.
Bochy said, yeah, if they get there. But if this is it for Scherzer in 2023, finishes with a 3.77 and a 112 whip. I mean, I guess you could say the Mets dodged a bullet here. I know they're still on the hook for some of that, but it goes back to what I was saying an episode or two ago, where it's like, are we at the point where we can start having the Scherzer is dare I say, washed conversation, because I just don't, and it's nothing that has to do with any fault of his. It's more just a matter of Father Time is undefeated, and he's getting up there in age, and as a guy who gives max effort, no pun intended, every time he takes the mound, this is inevitable. Like, the wear and tear on his arm is taking its toll, and I just don't know if we're going to see any sort of competitive version of Max Scherzer again moving forward. Like, I don't see it, because he's going to go out. I mean, I say maybe not competitive, because he's going to give you the competitive side every time he takes the ball, but in terms of the numbers and the box score at the end of each outing, I just don't know if we're going to see what we're used to seeing with him moving forward, because I don't know. Like I said, the wear and tear is just, it's adding up.
Well, he's owed $43 million next year, so he's definitely coming back. I think he's already exercised his option, and then free agent after that. I would go ahead and assume it's going to be like this. Do whatever you can to get to the point of just getting after it next year, emptying the tank next year. And I think the Rangers investing $43 million in him have to almost feel like they got to push the chips into the table next year too.
But is that the best route to take, though? Because we've seen with his history that at this point in the year, he really slows down.
They gotta. This is what I was saying a couple weeks ago. Like, these teams have to start being okay, just being vocal about doing the Kershaw thing, dude.
Yeah.
Like, just have your mystery injuries throughout the regular season, stay in shape, and just keep some juice for the postseason. There has to be some of that. And with DeGrom being there, coming back, I think DeGrom will be back next year, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. I think they'll probably add to the rotation again. Like, they're going to be fine. They might sneak in this year. I don't know if they have the depth to go deep this year, especially with this, but yeah, I mean, we can't continue to refer to Max Scherzer as Max Scherzer of old. And I'm sure it hurts him a little bit, because, like, you're seeing other guys that have done that. You're seeing Justin Verlander, it's the same age, and he looks A-okay. So it's too bad. It definitely sucks, but he's a middle of the rotation kind of guy now, and he's not a 200 inning, 200 strikeout guy. Not anymore.
No, and I've made it abundantly clear on this podcast. I'm not about the load management nonsense that's seemingly taking over sports these days, but
yeah,
I'm willing to make exceptions for a guy like Kershaw, like Scherzer, who there's not a question about their willingness or their desire to take the ball every fifth day.
The body can't do it.
They just can't do it. But if you're able to kind of offset that a little bit by spacing out his innings a little bit, then do what you got to do, because I'd rather see a healthy Scherzer go out there, or a healthy Kershaw go out there and give you 7+ if it's every 6th day, or maybe if you're limiting his innings earlier in the season.
Take 10 starts off, dude. Just go, instead of 35, 34, give me 23 to 25 a year. Make them good.
All that to say, though, this news with Scherzer does not really affect my belief or lack of belief regarding the Rangers and their postseason chances, or their ability to succeed in the postseason, because, like we talked about, Scherzer, as of late, has not been able to show up in big games for them.
Yeah.
So you talk about depth in a potential postseason run. I don't know how much value Scherzer's bringing to you. I mean, sure, seeing his name on the lineup card before a game, that can instill a little bit of confidence for your club, but in terms of the opposition, I don't know if you're looking at that going, this is might have to chalk this up as an L, because like we said, he just hasn't been there the last few games that he's needed.
I think it's
to
just
show
like
up in.
It's us as fans that just we get obsessed with the name, you know, and then we just have that expectation that that's what it's going to be. And I mean, go to the other side of the ball, Giancarlo Stanton. You know what I mean? Like, that guy's just, he's not what he used to be. There isn't that fear. Like, you're not absolutely terrified to throw a fastball in on him anymore. It's the same thing as a hitter. And like, once you lose that, when you lose that fear and the confidence goes away and it's just about stuff and you're 40, kind of running out of things to worry about here. So I don't think any hitter really fears that guy.
Another guy that I mentioned, Darvish, he is being shut down for the year, finishes the season 8-10 with a 4.56 and a whip of 1.298. Was only able to chalk up 136 in the third innings this year. I mean, look, shut it down. It's a lost season for the Padres. You're not missing out on anything here. I mean, he hasn't pitched since like late August. There's really not much to say here, because like, if the Padres were in any sort of position to do something, this would carry a little more weight. And sure, like, yeah, I mean, regardless if a team is in it or not, you hate seeing their top names, top arms in this scenario go down. But like, the Padres, they had a chance to do something special this year and absolutely blew it. Like, to be blunt, like, there was no real hope here for the last few weeks. And I'm sure there's Padres fans that would say, well, mathematically, if we would have strung together some wins, like, we might be having a different conversation. But it's like, it's not even about that. Like, I know the whole narrative all the time is like, you just got to get in. But like, if you're the Padres, that was not the expectation. That was not the hope coming into spring training this year.
The hope was to dominate, dude.
I think the hope was, and like we talk about all the time, and we have this whole season, the Dodgers, many people were labeling them as punting on this year, right, because of the Shohei sweepstakes. And I know that we keep going back to that, but like, that was the reality of it. They didn't really have a shortstop coming into the season until like in the 11th hour, they go out and get Miguel Rojas, which that didn't really pan out to be much of anything. And it's like, the Dodgers not really having like an elite shortstop, that seems a little off. So to me, that was an indicator of where the Dodgers were at coming into the season. So if you're the Padres, you're looking at that going, with the roster that we have established here with these moves in the offseason, like, yeah, we should win this division by double digits. And here we are again, seemingly crawling to the finish line with zero hope of doing anything, playing beyond September. And so news like this, in a perfect world, it should have been somewhat earth-shattering, but for them, it's just a guy goes down in a lost season. So that's kind of where we're at with the Darvish news.
Yeah, 4.56 ERA. I think some forget he's 36 years old. And what's crazy is that he's signed until like 41, 42 years old. To be fair, it's a somewhat team-friendly deal. I think he's only making like 14 or 15 a year. But it's just not what you expect. I mean, it's not like he's far removed from success. I mean, back-to-back years of 21 and 22 making 30 starts. You know, had 194 innings last year. So you got to assume it's still in there. It's just, there's probably a little bit of this reinvent yourself. So, and, you know, we've seen this before with Japanese pitchers. Like, some of them find success in learning how to just focus on spinning the ball and, you know, go grab like a Tanaka, for an example, and just change your ways a little bit. And I still see him as being productive. And again, the money isn't like a front of the line starter. I think he can transition into like a 3-4 guy the rest of his career. And if you're getting 160, 170 innings out of somebody like that, that's fine. I think that'll do it. That's all they really need out of him. But what you're saying with the Padres, I mean, the pitching wasn't the issue this year. It was hitting, so.
O'Neal Cruz, another guy, another big name. I mean, especially with the way the Pirates season kind of turned on its head.
I got to be honest, I didn't think he was coming back this year anyway.
I didn't think so either. So honestly, I'm not even quite sure like why this news became news. Like
Right.
There'd
What's
be
the
no
point?
reason for him to come back other than to like just get his sea legs back a little bit.
Yeah.
And get himself situated for next year, but also like that would be minimal at best. Like it's not like he would see months of action before they call it a year at the end of September. But I think the reality is here we're missing out on a guy that provides some electricity when he's on the field. So I mean that's what we're missing out on. But other than that, I mean the Pirates, like we talked about, it was a good story to start the year. But
Yeah.
just rest up and get healthy and
Rest your superstar.
Let's see if we can maybe prolong the feel good story next year if you're Pittsburgh. Like
Heck yeah, for sure.
Take the little dose of what you saw at the start of this year, the conversation, the narrative that was surrounding your team to start this year, and for a good chunk of the year to start, take that, learn from it, make some moves this offseason beyond just like a little small name here or there. Like,
yeah,
go out,
like
make
go
a
do some
splash.
stuff.
Go make a splash, get O'Neal Cruz back, and like I said, let's see if we can prolong the feel-good story a little bit more next year in 2024.
Yeah.
Performances, just want to tip the cap to a couple guys here. Davis Schneider, the Blue Jays. I don't know if enough people are talking about this guy. Through his first 25 games, he's got an OPS of 1.315.
Pretty good.
The best anyone has ever had through their first 25 games with a minimum of 100 plate appearances.
Wow.
The lowest chase rate in Major League Baseball.
Really?
14.8. You hear about Soto's chase rate? Davis Schneider's got one better. 14.8% best in baseball. Also, only one player this year, Aaron Judge, has a higher barrel rate than Schneider does. So, something to look into. I think this guy was like a mid-20s round draft pick.
Love it. Love those stories.
And I believe I saw a quote floating around that said the Blue Jays were outright like, yeah, this guy's not really a priority. And he's coming up and doing something that quite literally nobody has ever done before. So just wanted to bring some light to the early start to the career of Davis Schneider. Props to you, my friend. Trea Turner. I'm bringing back the Trea Turner spotlight. JROD put out a tweet, I think yesterday. It says Trea Turner MLB ranks since the standing ovation on August 4th. Batting average 388, which ranks third in baseball. On base percentage 430, which ranks sixth in baseball. Slugging 820, which is first in baseball. OPS 1251, which is first in baseball. WOBA 522, which is first in baseball. Hits 54, third in baseball. Home runs 16, which is first in baseball. Runs 34, which is fourth in baseball. RBIs 41, which is first in baseball. Extra base hits 27, which is first in baseball. And total bases 114, which is first in baseball. So
is his sliding first in baseball.
Say what you will about the amount of times that I'm mentioning Trea Turner on this podcast, but I'm telling you, dude, there needs to be a movie made
at this point.
This standing ovation. It's insane.
It's been a month and a half. Like, this is not just a fluke. Like, this dude is I don't know why people forgot that he's a superstar. This guy, I love it.
He had what was it, 10 home runs in 11 games? And it literally got to the point during that stretch where you'd be watching the game and be like, okay, well, he's going to hit one tonight. It's just a matter of which inning.
Yeah.
I was watching the game the other night, or I wasn't watching the game because apparently I'm blacked out from Braves-Phillies games down here in South Carolina, which I think is ridiculous.
That's weird.
I mean, I get it, but it's just ridiculous. But I was tracking the game for fantasy purposes because I got a few Phillies on there, and I was like, he's gonna hit one tonight, and sure enough, get the notification, Trea Turner home run. I was like, okay. So it's gotten to the point with Trea Turner where it's almost automatic, and I think, like I said, a movie needs to be written about this because
I'm with it.
I mean, what a story.
What
a story. And if that's a big if, because the Braves are like a juggernaut right now. But
I know.
I did Sharpie the Phillies into the World Series.
That's true. You can't back out now. MVP? You're choosing your MVP right now?
I'm not choosing my MVP. What are you talking about? Of the
Your
league?
World Series MVP.
Oh. No, I'm just saying if they can do that and somehow go on to win the World Series, that's going to be a nice added layer to the movie, to the documentary, because if they were able to pull that off, that would be quite the storybook ending.
It's true, man. It's really true. I'm here for it. I don't know who would be against it.
I'm worried, though, man. The Phillies need to figure out how to win close ball games. Like I put out that post about a few home runs Bryce Harper's had over the last month to where he either like tied the game or put them ahead, and they went on to lose all of those.
Yeah.
Any sort of late inning heroics that the offense seems to have, the bullpen just decides to blow it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to need them to figure that out. And kind of tangent here, if we're trying to pull off this O's...
dude, really? For real?
We're trying to pull off this O's ALDS trip. I'm going to need them to kind of dial it in here too, because the Rays are still kind of hanging around. And we'll get into that here in just a minute, but just wanted to bring some attention to these couple guys, David Schneider, Trea Turner. Is there anything else you got before we get to weekend series?
I did. I just can't remember.
Do you want me to go weekend series so you can remember?
Oh, I think it was now. I mean, we can wait till next week. I don't know. This Ohtani stuff has me. I don't know. Like he was scratched again. Like I don't know if he's going to be shut down. So I'm just like, part of me is wondering, do we start having conversations about other people in the AL for MVP? You know? So I think that's something we can get into here if he doesn't play again, you know? Because
are you saying for this year or just moving forward?
Yeah, this year. I don't know. You take 3 weeks off at the end of the season, someone gets close, numbers wise. Like, I know we chalked him in early, rightfully so. I haven't looked at numbers. I haven't looked at anyone else.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he, with the year that he was having, I think he accumulated enough.
We'll see.
Up until getting scratched, I think.
I have no idea who else would be in that conversation, but
it brings up the point of like moving forward. If he does get shut down, or if he moves to some like extremely limited role on the bump,
yeah. Value.
Like, it's not just going to be a shoo-in every year. Like, we're going to have very hard conversations about whether or not he's deserving of the MVP year in and year out. Because if you're not, and I know it sounds crazy, but like, well, if you're not going 7+ every time you're on the bump, in addition to DHing in the days between, like I get what Shohei's doing is crazy, and we don't need to like rehash that because it's well documented at this point what he's capable of doing. But like, if what you're known for and what you've been winning these MVPs on goes away or is diminished at any point or to any extent, like we have to have a conversation. Like, can he be considered a guarantee at the start of every year, because if he gets moved to even like a closer role, it's like,
I don't know. It's just, I think it's more about like him getting to a team that knows how to take care of him. The Angels have clearly just beaten the hell out of this guy.
well, if history has told us anything, the Yankees would not be a good fit for him either, because their medical staff
100% true.
is they raised some questions.
They all went to chiropractor school. I don't know, 44 and 95. If Shohei's done, it's 44 and 95. 304 batting average. 1066 OPS.
Okay, so you essentially...
That's really good. And that's a great season. I'm just saying, if there's, I don't know, but if there's other people in that conversation and they finish the year out and they end up playing 150, 155 games and they're near those numbers, like, I think it's time to start having that convo
Right,
again.
but that right there, if they're near the numbers, you haven't even touched on what Shohei did on the bump this year. Like that.
Fair enough.
That's what I'm saying. This year, I think he's fine. But moving forward, if whatever team he ends up with, if they decide, like, we don't even want to really bother with this pitching thing because you're staring down the barrel of possibly a second TJ, like, we're just not even going to mess with it, or we're going to give you a very limited role. Like, that's, I think, when you can start having a conversation. Like, if a guy just goes out and blows him out of the water offensively to offset their lack of contributions on the mound, then you can start having the conversation.
He should have just had TJ right away.
He really should have, but I don't know. Guys nowadays, I feel like they like stretching it out. They're like, well, let's just wait. And then they wait till like February, and they're like, all right, let's make the decision to go ahead and get the surgery. I don't know what that's all about. Weekend series to watch for me, the Rays versus the O's. Kind of like I was just saying, we're gonna have to keep an eye on this because they got a 4-game set starting tonight, Thursday.
Yeah, dude.
And I think I saw they're 2 games up on the Rays in division. Is that right? 2
yeah,
games.
I think so. I think you're
and
right.
We got a 4-game set.
Yep.
Like, I've already got the tickets for the ALDS, and if the Rays keep fooling around, or if the O's keep fooling around, dude, like, what are we doing?
I know.
Maybe we'll have to switch gears and go to a wild card game in Baltimore. Who knows?
I don't know, dude. But we were looking at, I sent you this graphic of, like, if all the games,
The one-run games.
the
were
one-run
flipped.
games all got flipped, like, to the other side of success, the Orioles would drop 14 games, and they'd be third in the division at 77 wins right now.
I mean, but hey,
They're doing it. I'm just saying,
doing
like,
it.
they're barely surviving. So they need to play good ball. Is it in Baltimore this weekend?
You know, that's a good question. I don't even think I pulled that up.
Because if you're going to Tampa, trouble.
No, I think it's in Baltimore. Yeah, I think it's in Baltimore.
Yeah, it is. Cool. Good.
Game 1, Aaron Savali versus Kyle Bradish. Game 2, Zach Eflin versus Jack Flaherty. Game 3, this is the one I'm going to try to tune in for in the midst of our return back from vacation. Tyler Glasnow versus Grayson Rodriguez. And then Sunday, you got Zach Littell versus Dean Kramer.
Could that be the tallest starting pitcher combination of all time? Glasnow and Grayson Rodriguez? That'd be interesting to look up.
I need to look that up. I want to look that up.
That could be interesting.
That could make for a great post. I love stuff like that.
Just curious about it. I don't know. Unless, like, Chris Young and Randy Johnson matched up one day.
Yo, what?
What?
Breaking news.
I haven't get it yet. What?
The Red Sox have fired Chaim Bloom?
There you go.
Are you for... No way.
Nothing like wait until September.
No way. Let's go. See ya, Chaim. You bum. Get out of town. Let's get a guy in here who knows how to spend some money. and not treat the Boston Red Sox like the Rays. Let's go! Oh, God. What a great bit of news to get on vacation. Holy cow, dude. Wow.
The beach just got way brighter.
Oh,
the ocean
the
got
clouds
fresher.
are disappearing. The sun's getting just a little bit warmer. The drinks are a little bit colder. Wow.
That car ain't as hot anymore.
What a day. Holy cow. I'm so back. I've been so out on this team this year. I'm so back. Go
Does it matter
Sox.
who they hire? Do you care?
I don't, because I think they learned their lesson. I think they realized, yeah, this isn't going to work. Let's go. Okay, I'm hyped. Let's go. All right, what weekend series you got?
Well, mine's just, there's not a whole lot of excitement anymore. Cubs here in Phoenix for the D-backs. This is a big series. 3-game set. Cubs currently hold the second wild card spot. D-backs hold the third. Only 2 games back from each other.
For the Cubbies fans that listen to our podcast, can you just express to them how, well, I mean, I can vouch for you. The excitement that Nate has surrounding the prospect of the Cubs and Phillies matching up in the wild card, like that's all Nate wants right now. That's all Nate wants.
I need them to force a game 3 so we can go, so I can get there. I need that to happen. So definitely rooting for the Cubs. Diamondbacks, I don't really care. I don't care. Justin Steele going game 1. This starts Friday, by the way. Justin Steele going game 1 against Brandon P. Fat. Game 2, Kyle Hendricks going against.
Wasn't sure if you were deciding to beatbox there or where you were with that.
Maybe that's whoever came up with that last name. Kyle Hendricks going game 2 against Zach Davies. And then game 3, Jordan Wicks going for the Cubs, evil twin of Jordan Hicks. And D-backs going with Ryan Nelson. So give me some Cubbies holding it down in the desert. Let's go.
Love it. Closing the book here, talking about higher-ups in front offices. We obviously got the news just now of Chaim Bloom, but on the flip side,
on the flippity-flip,
more positive note for the Mets. They hired David Stearns, who was formerly with the Milwaukee Brewers. What was interesting about that, though, is I completely forgot. And I remember this news like being a thing, but he was denied. I was reading this. He was denied permission by the Brewers to talk about the Mets' position after the 2021 season. But now that they've gotten that cleared up, I just thought it was interesting because it's like you don't you think about tampering at like the player level, but you never really think about it as much with like the higher ups. So like in the front office, it's just something interesting. But
right,
he will begin his. I think I read it's a 5-year contract. He'll begin that at the end of the regular season this year. So,
I mean, imagine what he's capable of doing when they actually are backed with some money and some balls. Whoops, said it. Sorry. But like, if you're holding it down in Milwaukee and you're like constantly in your tenure, like constantly in the chase, and now you're going somewhere that's willing to write checks, I'm excited to see what he can do. Mets are still going to Met, but
right. I was just about to say, I hate to say it, like I feel very similar to this. Like the same way I felt with the Buck Showalter hiring. It's like, yeah, it might give you a little bump in terms of total wins at the end of the season, but in terms of culture, I don't know. Like, I thought Steve Cohen was going to be the fix because I'm like, okay,
sure, yeah, but like, I mean, he obviously doesn't know baseball, so.
Well, I mean, it's like at the end of the day, we know that money doesn't fix everything. We've seen it how it played out with the Mets. We saw how it played out with the Padres. Like it's not always the answer, but I've always said you at least give yourself a shot. Like, if it doesn't pan out, that's not on the guy writing the checks. That's on the players.
Yeah.
So I thought that was going to be the fix. It almost seemingly has gotten worse somehow for the Mets since Steve Cohen's taken over, just in terms of the status or the perception of the Mets since Cohen took over. It somehow seemingly has taken a nosedive, which didn't even think that was possible, but here we are. So
Get
I don't
this,
know.
though. Here's
see.
something interesting. We saw reports that the Brewers were like really, really in on Pete Alonso. Peter. They were trying to trade for Peter at the deadline. So now that Mr. Stearns has switched camps, could be interesting. Maybe they're really excited about keeping Peter. So something to pay attention to there.
That's a good point, which is another thing real quick. I know we get on Peter a lot. Rightfully so. Guy's a nerd at times. Guy's a dweeb. Just a tip of the cap to Peter. I've tipped my cap to him for lacing up for the old US of A and the World Baseball Classic. I'm not going to say a negative thing about a guy that decided to lace up for USA and World Baseball Classic.
Except Jeff McNeil.
Nah, dude, even Jeff McNeil,
Bum.
No, he didn't swing the bat whatsoever, but he still suited up when other guys were like, yeah, no, I'd rather get some rest for the season ahead. Whatever.
Jeff McNeil sucks.
No, nothing negative about Jeff McNeil for Team USA, but just tip of the cap for Pete Alonso and the work that he does for everything related to 9/11. Like I know he has a big role in that, and really does what he can to help out like families and fans alike who have been affected by that. So I just saw that in the news, and like I know that's not the first time he's done something like that. So props to him for that. But all that to say, I think we've got our weekend series out of the way, closing the book. Unless you got anything else, I say we call it a week and get out of here.
Sounds good to me. Have fun at the beach rest of your weekend. Head back soon, Sunday?
Heading back Saturday, so a couple more days here, and
nice.
I will be
nothing like that 1 day of recovery after a vacation. It's a must. It's an absolute must. I like it.
So yeah, next time you hear from me, I will be reporting from my unnamed studio. We need to come up with a name. I've been putting in too much work into that office to not have a name for it. So if there's some names that name ideas that you all got, whether it's you, Nate, or the people listening, throw them at me because
I want a name too.
I need a name for the studio.
I want one too.
Let's
get creative. Yeah. Don't go chasing curveballs.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.